Hey, what is going on, guys? I am Tom, back with another how-to bread video. And today we are going to tackle one of the more complicated guys that anybody that does bread will know. And he is rye bread, 100%. So, before diving into this, I'm just gonna explain a couple of things about the rye kernel and also why it would be more complicated to do instead of a normal bread. And so pretty much the rye kernel is a type of wheat that is more commonly grown in northern Europe. Most people normally know it from Germans eating it. Pretty much high kernels in general, they thrive where there is little nutrients in the soil, and the conditions for most other plants is not that good. So Europe, like Germany, all that area of land, and where it's not exactly the greatest for growing stuff, that would be the greatest spot for the rye to actually grow. So with that, uh, pretty much for bread to actually be called a rye bread, though, you have to at least have 50% of the flour in it be rye flour. If it is anything less, it has to be considered a infusion of rye bread, of rye flour. I mean, because the rye flour has to be the predominant type of flour in it, pretty much. So, for reasons why it's complicated to work with, the rye flour itself does not absorb that much moisture, as opposed to other flours in general. The gluten structure in it, like the gliadin, glutenin, the two proteins that create gluten, and they are very, they are not shown that often in it. There's very little in it to help it. The starch compound is a little less, but it has enzymes in it to counterbalance the starch. So that is kind of not good, depending on what height you're looking for, or for the gluten concept. And it's not that good for the yeast in it, because yeast eats the starch molecules that are small, all and stuff, and produces. So there's that. During the milling process, though, of the rye, this is where it gets a little weird, because it does not get husked. So the shell is put on and remained during the entire process. So that is an awkward thing to do. As opposed to rye or bread production at all. So rye itself can be put into multiple categories, such as light, medium dark, and pumpernickel. And the one that I am using for this is a whole wheat rye. So it's one of those guys. So, now, the production of this is a little strange. And I say strange because all the breads that I've done in the past, all that process, I'm throwing right out the window with this. Yes. So instead of waiting to add your yeast and salt, you're adding everything into the bowl at once, and you're not waiting for it to get homogeneous. Yes, waiting a few minutes to let it relax and stuff, and then going one more time to get a unique gluten structure, because you can't get the gluten structure you want out of this. Yes. So, what you're actually doing is mixing it all together for about 8 minutes, and what you're looking for is kind of like a plastic look. You know, it's holding a structure and stuff, but it looks glossy a bit. Kind of. It's a hard thing to explain, other than, and it will kind of look not like a dough itself. So, for this, as I had done a like batch to do 2 different guys that will weigh out to about, where is he? Sorry. There we are. Okay. These guys should weigh out to about 608. I should get 2 of these guys. So percentages for this guy is 70.6 for water. Whole wheat rye is 100%. Yeast is 0.9. Salt is 2.4. Or rye sour is 91.8. And for this, I did a pre-ferment that is 2 parts flour and 1 part water, and added a pinch of yeast. So the numbers that I've got for this, which should equal out to about 1360, are water 361, whole wheat rye 512, yeast 5, salt 12, and the rye sour 470, with the components of it being flour at 314 and water at 157, and of course the pinch, which really is not something you can actually put an estimate on. It's just take a little bit in your fingers and just throw it in. So, for this now, let's just talk a little on the pre-ferment that I used, which is different from the sourdough starter that I normally use. So, the pre-ferment and the sourdough hold the same components, however, where they get their yeast from is different. And the normal pre-ferment that is very commonly known, like sourdough starter and stuff, that is the natural yeast that takes several days to create a proper culture. However, the pre-ferment that I used for this, which you can pretty much call it, mine was closer to a Big O, which is a very low moisture content, which normally is around like 65% moisture and stuff. That one uses commercial yeast, and you can use it up to like 16 hours later, or depending on the pre-ferment. And which, if you're doing this as like in a very short time span, this is good to use. Because let's say, hey, for some reason your culture died on you the other day, and you're trying to make bread with a pre-ferment, and you don't have your culture now. How you can just grab a little flour, grab a little water, grab a little commercial yeast, throw it in, and you're golden. You won't get the unique tastes that the sour starter will give you, but you will still be giving that rustic flavor that is coherent in a bread that has a pre-ferment in it. So, pretty much after you pull it out of the mixer from 8 minutes of mixing and stuff, has its plastic look, yada yada yada, you're gonna let it sit for 15 minutes. This is another odd one compared to what we've normally done, because normally we've let it rest for 2 hours, folding, hang in between, to have the gluten development relax, have the yeast eat its fill, work its stuff, but you are not looking for that in the rye bread, because, as I said again, you don't have gluten development so much, so you can't really do anything about that. From what I've seen, this does not affect anything at all, like very odd holes in it, and it works just fine, tastes just fine. So, since we're on to that, I am going to set my oven at 470, which is the heat prep temp for this guy. Okay, 470. Now let's start portioning. As you can see, he looks a little odd for what we've normally done. And one thing that is kind of unique with this, you can actually go in with a bowl scraper instead of a bench knife and cut them. So you see here, very little to any gluten structure, not elastic. Heck, in short, if we were looking for this, like, at a normal bread dough or something, this would normally be around the time it would be starting, but that's not what we're looking for in normal bread flour, but this is kind of what we're looking for here, so we're safe. On. Okay, 680. And this guy's a little off, but that's fine. Just keep them a little closer together. So, one thing that I've noticed, you can't overwork it, really. Because there's no how gluten 2 overwork. So I'm just gonna roll these guys into logs, which helps me work it. Alright. These guys look kind of ugly, but they're not bad, and if you who are doing what is it? Here for St. Patrick's Day. Hey, what do they do? Who? What was it? It was... Anyway. Hey, it's off my... Can't think of it right now, but if you do what... Like, the normal St. Patrick's Day meal... then... And this will be a great addition to it if you who want to make it. So, a lot of problems people have though with rye bread is sometimes they just can't work it correctly. It either comes out very doughy in the center, like to a point it's not really like good. Like you're pretty much eating the dough itself, or it comes out burnt to a crisp. Yes, and you can't really eat it because it tastes not that good. Good for that. So, with that said, and I've done this a couple of times myself, and I will tell you personally, this is really hard to get correctly. So, if you do it correctly and everything, you should come out with a nice piece of bread. If not, it's really not that big of a deal. No, because most people, they will look at you and be like, I honestly have no idea how to make rye bread so well. How that does bread, because this is one of those things that if you don't learn from someone that actually does it correctly and will show you the exact concepts, you're kind of not gonna get it. So, anyway, that being said, we got our 2 breads heads molded. And so, once our oven goes up to temp, what we're going to do is we're going to put these guys on a pan that has been oiled with vegetable oil and keep them in there for about half an hour after dropping the temp down to 440. And once the half an hour hits, we pull the bread off the pan and just bake them like that. It should be good. It should have a structure, and we're just gonna bake that off for about 15 more minutes. If by some chance you think it needs more time, like you're knocking on it, it doesn't really sound hollow or anything like that, throw it in for a little longer. this should take roughly 45 to an hour, her bake time. And once he's done, he needs to go right on a surface where he can cool all around, like a wire rack or something like that. So basically something like this. See? Just a little wire rack so he can completely cool fast. He doesn't burn anywhere. And once he cools, he should be ready for you to dig into, and he'll taste pretty good. Well, thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. If you did not, because you happen to find some complications with your thing, and tell me in the comment section. I'll help you and possibly guide you in the correct way if it happens to be something I can handle. I'll then explain to you. Thank you.